Hey everybody, it's Daniel. Welcome back to another video with Laura from La Casita de Laura. Laura is down in Las Palmas de Gran Canaria. She's a Spanish teacher.
Correct.
She gives classes online and in person. You're welcome
you come here to Gran Canaria.
Yes, you should definitely go to Gran Canaria. It's a beautiful place. If you're there, please contact Laura, but you can also do so online, for example.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, people can find you on Instagram, on Facebook, La Casita de Laura.
La Casita de Laura Learn Spanish.
La Casita de Laura Learn Spanish. Awesome. So today we wanted to talk about wine. Spain, last time I checked, was the world's largest producer of wine. That could have changed in the meantime, but
we are famous for our wine. Yeah, everybody in the world knows about Rioja wine.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I didn't before I came here. I thought that wine was basically like France, California, and Chile, or something, because we didn't have a lot of
Australia has good wine also.
Yeah, but Spain has a lot of wine and several different wine regions. First, wine is vino. And then you could order red wine or white wine. How do we do that?
Vino tinto. We don't say vino rojo. We don't say red. We say tinto. Yeah. But it refers to the reddish color. So vino tinto and vino blanco. That's easy.
Is there anything else you would use tinto for a color?
I think there's Rio Tinto somewhere in Spain. Also, maybe because it has like color in the water. But then tinto.
I thought it was related to like tinta de calamar. Tinta is ink.
Tinta, yeah, it's ink. Tinta.
Yeah. So la tinta de calamar, you can get like a rice with the squid ink in it, and it's like black rice because of this. So I thought that tinto was vino tinto because it's kind of black like ink. So more of a black wine than a red wine.
It could be.
Could be. How do you order a glass of wine?
Una copa de vino.
Una copa.
No un vaso de vino. Un vaso de vino. No, un vaso es para agua, no, for water. Un vaso, a glass. Vaso. Correcto. Pero una copa. Una copa, like a cup. It's funny because it sounds like cup. But
but a cup in English would probably be taza.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Sí, una taza.
Una taza with the taza, Z in the middle, or.
And for me, taza, like an S, taza, but it's spelled the same. It's just Canarian pronunciation. And Latin Americans also have our same sound for S or Z, like an S.
And how about a bottle of wine?
Una botella de vino.
Una botella.
Una botella de vino.
Yeah. So if you ask in a lot of places for un vino tinto, they might ask you Rioja or Ribera.
Correcto. Rioja es más suave. It's like somehow softer. It's not so strong. And Ribera has like a twist there.
So, and these are regions of Spain. Rioja is an autonomous community in the north of Spain.
Correct.
And Ribera comes from Ribera del Duero, which is the Duero River. It's the river that goes later to Oporto in Portugal, I believe.
Yes, I'm not exactly sure on the city, but let me double check.
Because there's two big Spanish rivers that end in big cities in Portugal.
In Oporto, en el estuario de Oporto, correcto. I was not sure on the city. Sí.
So, Ribera del Duero is, I believe it's around like Burgos in also sort of the north of Spain, and it's just the wine growing region up there. After that, sometimes you might get in Madrid, you might get a Valdepeñas, which is just usually cheaper and not quite as good, but there's some reasonable wines from Valdepeñas. Valdepeñas is south of Madrid. It's a region down there in Castilla-La Mancha is Valdepeñas. And you also make wine in the Canary Islands.
See, well, not every island, but almost all the islands have wine production, and we have denominación de origen for some wines. And I would say the most particular one that has always got my eye, and I'm really like surprised that they can produce wine there, is in Lanzarote. They produce wine in like volcanic ground, like
Yeah, the
it's really
volcanic.
amazing. It's like black, like and lava stones, and they produce the vineyards are there, and it's just so amazing to see. So if you are curious, go to Google and Lanzarote. El Grifo is the name of the wine, El Grifo.
Okay.
And it's really amazing.
Yeah. The denominación de origen is just like the geographical origin. Americans would be familiar with this because of like champagne.
Okay.
For example, that champagne, if it's not from the Champagne region of France, it's not champagne, right?
Correct.
So Rioja and Ribera are also denominación de origen, meaning that you can't just call any red wine Rioja. It's the region. There's grapes. Man, I don't even want to get into grapes because I know nothing about it. But
I'm not really into wine myself either. So
yeah, the grapes that you might hear in Spain are what, Garnacha or Tempranillo, or a couple of different kind of grapes, but I'm not an expert in this at all. So,
and if I'm not wrong, the Lanzarote one, it's Malvasia.
Okay.
Malvasia grape.
Malvasia grape. I have never heard of that, but I'll go with it. I think a lot of places would also have un vino de la tierra, which I think I remember in Gran Canaria, they would offer you the Rioja and the Ribera or el vino de la tierra, which is just like the local wine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here in Barcelona, vino de la tierra is going to be usually, I think, Penedès is the
most common one.
Yeah, is the
closest region
nearby wine growing region is Penedès. So yeah, the vino de la tierra, and those are usually cheaper and maybe not.
Do you find they also say vino de la tierra as for like house wine, also like vino de la casa?
Well, vino de la casa is just going to be some sort of cheaper table wine mostly.
Maybe even like produced by the restaurant owner or maybe some family members.
Yeah, not many places up here. Well, at least not many places I go to would do that. There's a place
in here, sometimes you hear it. In the Canary Islands, you may hear it, vino de la casa.
There's a place, vino de la casa, yeah. There's a place in Madrid, outside Madrid, called El Molar, and they have these, they're Las Cuevas del Molar, and I guess I don't want to call them caves, but they're, I don't know, I don't even know. The English word cave does not seem to really fit in this case. But yeah, they make wine in these places, and you can go to Las Cuevas and you can drink the vino de la casa. They have a restaurant, and it's just basically, no offense because I love it, but it's really bad wine. And you can drink really bad wine, and it's the authentic wine experience where it's been, made in the most basic way with no added anything really.
Okay.
So if you wanted white wine, you would order vino blanco. And there are a couple of different ways a couple of different denominaciones, I guess. There's Albarino.
Most common one, I guess.
Yeah, and there's Rueda. I think here Rueda is very common. Albarino is from Galicia in the far northwest of Spain, on top of Portugal. Yeah, Galicia is a beautiful place. Have you been?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Twice, I think.
Okay. When I was down there, I was wondering if people from the islands ever make it up to the mainland.
Mainland. Almost all of it.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
No,
yeah.
We spend holidays there, our summer holidays with my family. We've discovered the 8 islands because now we're 8 islands. La Graciosa became an island recently because the population started like growing and growing and growing. So now La Graciosa is also an island. So
Wait, you have a
8
new island in
islands.
the Canarias?
We always had 8, but it was not considered part of the archipelago because it was the
Oh,
smaller, the population was smaller, but
oh
now
wow.
it's now considered part of the archipelago in terms of population. So I
Okay.
visited all the 8 islands, and with my family, we've always traveled to the mainland to discover a different city or a different region, and yeah,
Yeah,
rented a
beautiful.
car, visited a bit of
Great. Yeah,
every place in Spain. Spain's so beautiful. Like,
it is.
don't you agree? Like, you can find so many different things.
Oh yeah. For example, yeah, I mean, down there in the islands, for example, one thing you don't have is a lot of palaces and castles and things like that,
No,
which
no,
here
fancy.
on the mainland, you can't go, you can't even take a 15-minute drive without seeing a castle somewhere. So that's
Yeah.
really cool if you're not used to it. But yeah, so Albarino from Galicia in the north. Rueda, I have no idea where it's from somewhere, but it's also a white wine somewhere. Generally, I really love Albarino. If I'm going to drink white wine, I would prefer for it to be Albarino. Rueda is also very good, but I just love going to Galicia and drinking the Albarino with the octopus, the pulpo a la
Mm,
gallega. So that's a
para
big thing
gallego.
for me. Here in Spain, well, at least in Catalonia, we have something that is not champagne, but it is roughly equivalent to champagne.
Correct.
Yeah, what do you call that?
Cava, el
Cava.
cava.
Yeah, so
It also
cava.
has denominación de origen,
Yeah, and
la
it's one of
cava
those
catalana.
things. Yeah, you can't call it champagne because it's not champagne. And other places in Spain make something equivalent to cava, but it's not cava because it has to be from here in
La cava
Catalonia.
catalana.
Yeah, cava catalana. So yeah, cava. I've got a coupon here where I can save 20 euros if I buy 12 bottles of cava. And I'm trying to think of any reason why I would want 12 bottles of cava.
Well, now with COVID, you cannot have a house party, but hey, if you had a house
Yes, I
party,
could have
that
a
could
house
be.
party, but cava I drink only on like, Christmas and New Year maybe.
Yeah,
So
right. Yeah, true.
not
Or on the weekends, maybe if you're doing like an aperitivo Spanish style, you could have like a glass of cava
glass
and
of cava. Actually, it is more common here in Barcelona. You see people who will order a glass of cava at a bar. In Madrid, I don't think that's super common.
here maybe evening, and maybe if everybody else is drinking and you normally don't do cocktails but you want something sparkly, so
Yeah.
then you get a cava.
Yeah. So there's also Vino Rosado, which is not super common.
No, like rosé. Yeah.
Yeah, rose wine, rosé. It's just Rosado, which means pink, I guess.
Yeah.
And then there's Vermouth. How do you
Mm-hmm.
how do you pronounce this and how do you spell this? Because I just wrote down Vermu with an accent over it.
Or
Which
you can also write it with a T, but you don't pronounce it, so it is vermouth.
yeah. So this
Vermouth.
is vermouth, which in English, we have one spelling in English, and then the Spanish spelling is just a bit shorter than that. And in Spanish, you don't really have words with T on the end of them. So
No, that's not so common.
yeah. So if you do have a T, you would not pronounce it. So that's where you get vermouth. So, vermouth is just red wine or white wine with sugar and some herbs, and they let it sit for a couple of weeks. I used to make this at home. Um,
Wow.
I would make a really bad version, but you let it sit, and they say to put it like on your balcony so it gets heat during the day and cold at night, and that this makes it better somehow. And
Nice. Good to know.
yeah, I mean, do this if you're into that kind of thing. Otherwise, just buy something, from a shop. And I have a friend in Madrid also who says, "Vamos a tomar el vermouth," and she doesn't actually mean neither of us are going to drink vermouth. What she means is
But
it's
it's
like the aperitivo,
correct.
the aperitivo, which is you just have a drink before lunch.
Yeah.
I apologize.
or
Can you
in the
hearing this awful
evening.
noise?
Yeah,
No? Okay.
no.
Great. So yeah, so you can literally drink un vermouth de barril, for example, which is, from a little barrel, and they will do that. Or you can, get something from a bottle. It can be pretty good, but you can also just say tomar el vermouth, like as the concept of having a drink before lunch, basically.
Correct. It's like when you say to a Spanish person, or a Spanish person says, vamos a tomar un café. Maybe that person doesn't do caffeine, but it means just like sitting down for an hour to have a chat.
Yeah, vamos a tomar un café is maybe like a date or a friendly chat, but there's no obligation of drinking coffee at one of these.
And then there's vamos a tomar algo. Let's go have something. Let's go have a drink. And that it's not so. Vamos a tomar un café. It's like 1 hour.
Yeah.
Right. But then vamos a tomar algo could end up going to party and then getting home early in the morning. Like it could lead like to have a drink after a drink after a drink. Yeah, and then the next morning you.
Right. Yeah. Vamos a tomar algo is like one of the first things you learn if you're a foreign person in Spain. It's a basic social expression. Okay, so we've got Cava, we've got Rosado, we've got Vermouth. I guess we could also talk about, Sangria.
The biggest myth about Spanish and Spaniards and drinks.
I'm glad you said this, actually, because I had suspected that. I've thought about it, and I don't think I've ever seen a Spanish person drinking sangria.
That's what I tell all my students. Like, we don't normally drink sangria.
But okay. Is there some historical Spanish person who might be drinking sangria?
I don't know. Maybe you know more than me. Did you search something?
No, I have no idea. But like, it had to come from somewhere.
I have no idea, to be honest. The origin of sangria.
Yeah.
It definitely made it, probably, I don't know, maybe somebody tried the wine, maybe it was too strong and they decided to make it sweeter. So then they added like maybe juice, like fruit juices and some fruit pieces, like and I don't really know, but Spaniards, when they want to have like let's say like a wine mix or something, they normally do Tinto de verano.
Yeah.
Which is like the wine with gaseosa, which is like soda in English.
Yeah.
And then maybe a twist of lemon.
It's artificially sweetened soda water. It's really awful, in my opinion. My girlfriend bought gaseosa thinking it was the same thing as sparkling water.
No.
And we still have it back here. I took one sip and I just can't. But
that needs to go down the sink, not even to water the plants.
Yeah. The Spanish in like some of these places, like not exceptionally good restaurants, for example, you get the menú del día, like the daily menu. And if you order the wine, they'll just give you the bottle of gaseosa, and people will like mix red wine with gaseosa. And I think it's the worst idea in the history of bad ideas, but it is popular in some of these, a place with a paper tablecloth generally.
Oh, yeah.
Paper on the table and a bottle of gaseosa next to the wine. Okay. So, and it's true. Like, I actually kind of like sangria very occasionally, but I would encourage people not to think that they're doing something typically Spanish if they're drinking sangria. Maybe you're doing something historically Spanish, but no 21st century Spanish person drinks sangria, as far as I can tell. Yeah.
It's refreshing and it's nice. It's sweet, and depending on the fruits that you put in, it tastes good. It's not bad, but it's not a typical Spanish thing a Spaniard would do.
Yeah.
On a
okay, you're hearing it from a Spanish person, not from me. So, all right. Okay, so finally we have Kalimocho, which we talked about in our video about beer, which is, what is Kalimocho?
It's Super cheap wine with Coke, but the regular one, not the diet one, because otherwise,
Yeah.
uh.
Yeah, bad red wine. I don't know. Down in Canarias, if you're going to get a really bad wine, here it would be Don Simon, maybe. You have Don Simon?
Yeah, we do. We do.
Okay, Don Simon is the brand, and they've got a very, very, very sophisticated industrial production of like orange juice and box wine.
And sangria.
Oh, they probably
Already
make
made sangria.
but pre-bottled sangria.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. So if you want to go to the supermarket and just buy your sangria pre-mixed, you could do that. But yeah, un Don Simon and a Coke, and you would just sort of mix them in a plastic cup or inside the 2-liter Coke bottle, and then you've got your Kalimocho. Yeah. So, and there's two different spellings for Kalimocho. One I think is the Basque spelling,
Correct.
which maybe Kalimocho comes from the Basque country.
It is. It is originally originated in the Basque country, and it has the K at the beginning, so it's KALIMTXO.
MOTXO on the end.
Kalimocho.
Yeah, the TX in Euskera is the same, the Basque language is the same as the CH in Spanish. Does Kalimocho mean something? It must, right?
I guess no idea. I'm going to check now. Kalimocho, asking my friend Google. He knows everything.
Yeah, this word didn't just come from nowhere.
Oh, it says, oh, no, hold on. Wikipedia. So Kalimocho, different names. Well, it doesn't say.
No? Okay, well.
Preparación. No.
If you meet a Basque person, perhaps ask them.
Yeah, maybe we can get some references from somebody who knows more about this.
Yeah, I have no idea. But yeah, there's the Spanish spelling, which is typical, but also the Basque spelling with the TX at the end, which are both acceptable spellings for Kalimocho.
Right.
Anything else we should say about wine? There's different, you can get un vino joven, for example. Un vino joven is just a young wine, a new wine, I guess. You can get crianza, reserva, or gran reserva. I don't exactly know the differences, but yeah, crianza, reserva,
probably
and gran
longer
reserva. It has something to do with the amount of time that it spends in the barrel, or the amount of time it spends in the bottle after being, bottled. And it's they're just different grades of wine, basically. The most expensive one is the Gran Reserva.
Correct. Let's see.
Great. So if you're going to buy a bottle of wine at the supermarket, how much do you usually spend?
Normalmente, I would say you can buy a decent bottle of wine for like €7. A decent one. Yeah. You can find cheaper.
Yeah.
Pero yeah, I think 7, 8 euros, 7 or 8 euros for a decent wine bottle.
Yeah, this is one of the great things. And if you go to a restaurant, a lot of restaurants will serve you a glass of pretty decent wine for like €3.
Sí.
Yeah. If you go to a more expensive restaurant, they'll charge you more, but there's plenty of places where for €3 you can get a decent wine.
And the supermarket of wine are not like this, like the amount they normally.
Oh yeah, they give you
fill them up.
They give you a bit more, depending on the size of the glass, but they give you a bit more also than in other countries, and it can be very cheap. So that's a nice thing. I like to tell people that I'm drinking €4 wine, but what they don't know is that my bottle of €4 wine is probably better than what they would spend €20 on back in the US. So yeah, Spanish wine, it is brilliant. Anyway, thank you, Laura, and perhaps we'll be back another day with more Spanish culture and vocabulary. Why don't you remind people where they can get in touch with you?
Yes, on Facebook and Instagram, on La Casita de Laura Learn Spanish.
Great. La Casita de Laura Learn Spanish. Well, thank you, Laura, and see you another time.
Hasta pronto.
Bye.